Welcome to my first ever sea adventure. On the way, we meet bigger boats, bigger waves, even bigger waves, and one huge adventure. For me at least, anyway. But with Norman as my trusty guide, we navigate through the big waves and we get to experience some real highs as well. On the way we'll experience rough but also beautifully calm sailing conditions, as well as the amazing coastline that North Wales has to offer. Together we sail and we motor from Conwy to Red Wharf Bay, taking in the sights, battling against the waves and relaxing in the calm bay of Moelfre. So come with me and my trusty Drascombe Lugger, Lulu, as we embark on our first ever sea adventure together. Gosh, you've got to get through this sand as well. I hope that's okay. But you can see, look, we're at, what's the time now? About 7 o'clock in the evening. And I assume, yeah, we're getting to high tide. We're about 2 hours before high tide, I think. So you can see, look at that current. It reminds me of the Mersey. Look at the red and black buoy bouncing away. I thought that was a boat or something from up there, just bouncing around so much. It's 6 o'clock. We're at Conwy, and the tide is, well, it's still coming in. We've seen a couple of boats going out already, but we're getting Lulu ready. This is Norman, who's come to help me today. Hello. And this is the engine we've got on the boat for the first time. So we're getting the boat set up, and then we're going to be launching in about, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half, something like that, as soon as the water calms down a bit. Our journey sees us start in the small port of Conwy, and after navigating the complicated Bouyage system out of Conwy, we head across the Irish Sea and through the Puffin Sound. From there, it's a little bit more plain sailing as we make our way across Red Wharf Bay to Moelfre. Our journey back sees us sailing over the north of Puffin Island and then back across the Irish Sea, back home to the slipway at Conwy. Woohoo! Wow! So these must be the biggest waves we've been in so far on this boat. I'm actually a bit scared, but Norman looks fine. I got to bring the sail down. So we're doing under 4. This is now knots. So I know I use a lot of miles an hour on the channel, but that's when we're in the lake. Just because it's a bit more understandable for novices. But on the sea, we've got to use knots. I got the sail up, down. I left my flags up actually, but I'm hoping they'll be okay. Wow, that's a biggie. Jesus. Little did I know they were about to get bigger. A lot bigger. Give her a little bit more juice to get through these waves. This engine is brilliant. It's so much more powerful than the electric motor. So yeah, I'm really happy we've got it. With the wind now against us and the complicated sandbanks outside of Conwy, this meant waves started to build. If you can see that on the camera, that yellow sort of floating platform, that's actually because the sandbanks are so big here. If people walk along there, wow, and they get stuck, or by the tide, they can seek refuge on that platform. And it's actually got an electronic flare on it, so the Coast Guard know that there's someone on it to go and get. Quite scary, wouldn't it? Was it? That was about a metre, that wave. Nice big boat there. Oh, look at that boat. Oh, that's the Menai boat. Oh, that's the training boat, I think. Right. Yeah. The waves were building as we left Conwy Bay, and some of these now were coming in at 1.2 metres, or about 4 feet, which was quite scary for me as a first trip on the sea. So I've just been playing with the motor a little bit, and we're getting like full speed now, 5.5 knots, but it takes a hell of a lot of oomph to eke out those final few knots, or points of a knot. So if we put this back down now to sort of where we were, about there, and you see we still motor along at 4.95 knots. A little bit more sedate. So hopefully you will. I hope you can see this. There's the fairway marker. Fairway marker. That's Puffin Island ahead. And we've got a big... As we passed the Fairway Buoy and into open waters, we suddenly saw a rather large motor sail coming straight for us. And he's not turning yet. Yeah, he's supposed to be changing his course. Oh, he is. Oh, no. No, he's not. So. Okay, there we go. Fortunately, he did see us and changed his course at the last minute and sailed straight by us without any danger at all. There's four yellow markers or buoys out there, and we're just trying to work out what they are because they're not on the chart. So our best guess is either lobster pots, but they look a bit big for that, or Norman was saying possibly a drift net, but we're not entirely sure what they are, and we're going to keep a wide berth. But they'd be right in the way of the course if we were going to go on the outside of Puffin Island, which we're not. You may have noticed we are motoring still, and that's because we're just headed straight into the wind at the moment. We could tack, but you know, I think we've also only just caught the tide now because of the wind has been pushing the tide. We've got wind over tide now, but the wind made the tide flood a little bit longer, almost an hour. So we just decided to just motor on and not, you know, just tack for the hell of it. But one of the reasons we're passing Puffin Island on the left and going through the channel is because the wind, I think, is veering, so we're going to get a westerly soon. Sorry, not veering, I think it's backing, so we're going to get a westerly soon, and hopefully that'll give us a little bit of sail time. So you can see the northern entrance of the Menai Straits here, with the beautiful Snowdonia Mountains on the left and Anglesey, the island of Anglesey, on the right. Probably the best view of Snowdonia, I think, and the Welsh mountains over there. I mean, it's epic, isn't it, that? It's really epic. And that is the Menai Straits, straight down there, south. You can see the sea is... The sea state had got relatively calm because we were in much deeper water, and the tide was probably about slack tide now. But as we passed through Puffin Sound, things were about to get a lot rougher. Where we are here. The sea can get a bit confused here though, there's a lot going on. The Menai Straits, the channel, the winds. So, but you know, looking over there, there's nothing over there that's worrying at all, even for me. Puffin Island there. Those we've been talking, there's the monastery you may be able to see. What I didn't realise was all of this here is rock. You've got to be very, very careful of this. The channel is actually this channel here. You can see the lighthouse and the sort of red concrete block, and that's where we've got to aim for. Oh, it's a nice rolling, some nice rollers here. Look at these rollers. Suddenly, sea conditions worsened. Wind over tide and the narrowing sound created waves that were suddenly steeper but also bigger. Is this just because we're passing over some shallow? But I mean, you can see because they were a bit wider apart, that not even any water came over the bow, did it? So. We are doing 6.3 knots or 6.5 knots there. not worried though, Norman? No. So round here, this headland there is what's it called, Moelfre Bay, something like that. And woo, that's where we're headed right now. Still pretty much into the wind at the moment, so the engine's going to stay on for the time being. Fishing boat out there. We've just been wondering what it's doing, but we've just seen it hauling a little lobster pot, we think. Been motoring around and about us. Sea is a lot calmer here. It's really nice actually now. It was remarkable just how different the sea was here. We were sheltered from the wind a little bit here by this bay, and the sea was almost flat. It was in stark contrast to what we'd just been through. This is Menai, dead ahead, and this is where we're going to stay. We're going to anchor up or moor up somewhere here. So we're actually coming into a little small harbour, which is exciting. So you can see there's actually a sailing club there. See all the yellow markers and the clubhouse, and dead ahead you'll see some tall boats, some white boats, and that I think is where we're headed. We're giving this land spit here a good berth, wide berth. You see the waves, and yeah, we're going to moor up in this little harbour, which will be good. I'm already getting used to these big waves and the rolling waves. It's interesting, isn't it, how I'm kind of going through the whole experience again on the sea. It's weird. It's like now these rollers coming in, which are just enormous compared to Lake Barla, they're not bothering me at all. Whereas when I first was coming out of Conwy, they scared the living daylights out of me. If it wasn't for Norman, you know, I do wonder whether I'd be feeling safe, you know. So yeah, brilliant. This is really good. The boat can take a lot. That's one thing for sure. This boat can take a lot. It's crazy how much battering and how big some of those waves did get. So, and Norman said she's got more in her. So that's good, isn't it? Lobster pot ahead. Right dead ahead. So lobster pots, you just have... The rock might be floating. Yeah, so there might be something in between it. You've got to give these a wide berth. You don't want to get the rope caught. Nope, that battery's good. We arrived at Drascombe, which is Welsh for small beach, and I do hope I got that pronunciation right. It's set in a beautiful little cove with a beautiful dinghy club that launch right here from the beach. We anchored up in beautiful calm waters with the sun shining on us as we ate our lunch, waiting for the tide to turn so we could sail our way back home. I could have sat here for hours and hours just watching the seagulls, watching the tide recede and lap on the beach. Ah, it was so nice, it was glorious. But the tide turned and it was time to go home. So we set sail back to Conwy. Look at that, how that's dried out. We've had lunch, had a little fly with a drone. I'll put that up in a minute. And we're just pootling out. We're just weighing anchor and we're going to get the sails up, get some sea room and get the sails up. So let's go. The wind and the tide were now on our backs, so we motored out of this secluded bay to see if we could catch some wind back out in the ocean. We wanted to get the sails up. Engine off. There we go. Bit more centre plate. Now. Finally, we had our sails up and Lulu was sailing in the open ocean just as I dreamt about. It is, isn't it? It's, with all three sails flying, she was moving along at a fair steady rate of knots. This one here? There was very little wind, but there was enough to push us along and we were making our merry way back home. Here we go, we're sailing. So the wind's coming from sort of there, isn't it? Yeah. Port water. And we're fighting the tide a little bit at the moment, but we're making 3 knots, aren't we, really? And we're aiming, well, the left of Puffin Island. We're going to go outside of Puffin Island this time. We should catch some nice wind. And going through the channel was a bit leery, to be honest.
built that boat. He bought us just a bare hull.
Yeah.
And built
And he actually built it.
from a bare hull, yeah. Took it out,
It seems to be the craze these days. Everyone on YouTube seems to get their hands on one of those old life buoys.
Yeah.
And they do them up and
Houseboat or something.
that's it. Yeah. We're in the winter boatyard I was in. There was 2 there. I swear someone was living on one of them. You know. This boat's called Typhoon. It's anchored, as you can see. The anchor chain there, and the ball is up. And they're waiting probably for a slot to get into Liverpool Harbour, probably. We'll probably beat them there. I think the wind is it backed? Back.
More north now than...
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And there's Puffin Island, you can see just through there. And it's been a glorious sail back, really. It's been really, really just calm and gentle, and waves have just been like this the whole time. And just been chatting and just enjoying being out on the water, really. It's what it's all about. It's always a contrast to the other way, isn't it? And the weather is brilliant, as you can see. We certainly picked the right day. Been persevering all the way around the island, Puffin Island there, and I was starting to feel a little bit seasick from running and wallowing about, so we've dropped the motor. We were down to sort of like 1.5 knots. I think it was mostly tide, and we're going to sort of motor in unless we get a bit of wind. I was starting to feel really seasick from running, and also from sitting at the front of the boat and not being actively sailing her. Actually, we weren't moving anywhere either, anywhere fast, so we decided to motor and see if we could pick some wind up closer to home. Just perching on my spot here. It's great having someone else driving the boat. We're heading for the Fairway. You can just see that yellow buoy now. Now, you can, according to Savvy Navi, go for the Fairway over there. That's clear water, red and white buoy over there. This buoy takes us along a channel, a deeper channel though, up, and then you may be able to see the red and green. Well, no, yeah, I can barely see them. But you basically turn right and you can actually see, I think you can see the channel that we're going to be going down there. So, yeah, this will be quite interesting. Well, there's a big wave there. Look at that. The voyage getting into and out of Conwy is complicated at the best of times. But we were at quite low water right now, so we were going to be seeing all the sandbanks, so it's very important to stick to the channel, even in our little boat. So we're in the sort of channel system now. We've just rounded the yellow marker, the Fairway marker, and we're trying to keep as centrally as we can in between the red and the green markers or buoys. So you can see here there's only one red marker we're aiming for, and there's actually a red marker which I think is the next one. There's no green, so you do have to have your wits about you. See the waves there going over the shallow sandbank, and in some parts you can see the sand, I think, under the under the sea. You can just see a little change in colour, but that's certainly where we don't want to be. Even though this boat technically could maybe motor over there, you know, you don't want to because it's quite rough, you know, because the waves are breaking. Look how close that sandbank is there.
Right, head for the red one now.
So it's sort of head for it.
The red one.
C5? Oh, that's 5 as well. The last one was 5. Oh well. Look how close the sandbank is there. You could literally, you could get out and walk there, I reckon.
The red one.
This is the section that dries out, so we've got to be particularly vigilant to stay in the channel. See how close that sandbank is. I mean, it's 30 metres, maybe a little more on our starboard. We're just making sure we keep account of the numbers on the buoy so we don't miss any, although it's kind of becoming obvious now where they are. It wasn't so obvious back there. The channel was quite treacherous, but staying in the middle of it meant we were pretty safe. It was actually hitting the floor then, so we've got the rudder out. And this engine is so easy to use even with the mizzen mast in. So we're just taking our time. There's the ramp up there. We were home. It felt amazing doing this adventure. And I can't wait to do it again.